What's the difference between this photo and this photo? Well, we're about to find out. I'm Tucker here and I hope you're doing well. So the other day I was photographing some baby swans or cygnets at the local beach with another photographer. I mentioned to him that if you get lower to the ground, you can actually change the perceived depth of field of your image. Now, he was not aware of this concept. At that point, I thought maybe some other people might not know of this as well. So I decided to jump in here and let you know about this simple concept. So let's begin. Now, why is this the case? Well, let's take a look. Now, have you heard of the concept of the hyperfocal distance? That's the focal point where you need to focus in order to have an acceptable sharpness of your subject and a roughly infinity focus for your background. Now, that's not the concept I'm trying to explain to you today. That's another video on its own. What I'm referring to is a lot simpler than that, and it's simply the perspective you choose to photograph your subject in. Now, let's take a closer look at that. So right here is this great illustration that I made. Right here is the ground or the water in my case. Here's the subject matter, and in my case it's the baby swans or cygnets. And here is the photographer. Now the photographer that I was with at that time, he was standing up straight and tall. Now he's shooting the cygnets at a steep angle looking down from above. Now, what does this do to your background? Well, the subject or the swan is in focus, but the background is actually the water, which is the water that the swan is swimming on. Now, how close is that water to the actual subject? Very close. So what happens in that case is the subject is in focus, and more than likely that background water will also be in focus or just a little bit slightly blurry. So that prevents you from being able to separate that subject matter from that background. Now, let's get low to the ground at the same level of your subject. Now let's see what happens. My subject is here on the water, I'm low to the ground, I'm shooting directly at the subject matter. Now what happens in this case is I am shooting straight at the subject and my background is far behind the subject. So what happens in that case is the background is now a lot blurrier than the water used to be when I'm shooting from above down below, and effectively does a better job at separating your subject from your background. So the further away your background is from your subject, the blurrier your background will be. Now, it's also important to note that this is all irrespective of what your aperture is. So even if you have a aperture of f8 or f11 or something even higher, your background will still be blurred as long as your background is far enough away from your subject matter. And that's why many photographers prefer to go lower to the ground at the same level as their subject matter. Now don't forget, this also applies to other subject matters and not just baby swans or cygnets. So try this out next time on your kids, your dog, or anything else that you may have, and you'll see a stark difference between shooting up high, looking down, and shooting at the same level of your subject matter. Thanks for watching my video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.